All right, we are here with No Time to Die official thoughts. We got an early access press screening. I'm Jake,
I'm Ian.
and we do not have Mud with us. He said he was going to do the thing in the video, but then he had to go home early, so can't blame him there.
Yeah.
But here we are. Oh my god. So we're not going to get into spoilers.
Yes, no spoilers. Normally we go spoilers, by the way, and then just talk about it. But since this is an early access,
Yep.
a pretty big deal, I think we're going to do a commentary once
Eventually.
it's out.
Once it's out in digital, we'll get that commentary going.
We're going to do a spoiler-free.
Yep.
So you might get something a little shorter, but it's going to make up for it by the commentary's going to be banging because you're going to get more raw thoughts to certain things.
Yeah.
And on top of it, we don't want to spoil the movie for you guys. This is a big deal.
It's worth seeing if you know nothing about the plot.
100%.
Which, even though 18 months passed since its original date, I still didn't know the ends of the movies.
Yeah, that's
There's
very, very true.
several things that happen that are very large. Now,
Yes.
to get into it completely spoiler-free, what were your thoughts going into the movie?
I mean, I was excited. I think all of the Craig movies are at least good, if not great. I think it's half and half.
Even
good.
Quantum, you'd say?
2 are good, 2 are great.
Okay, all right. So Quantum and Spectre are good, would you say?
Yeah, and I really, really like Casino Royale. Obviously, it's my favorite one. And Skyfall is really, really good as well.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I think Casino and Skyfall are two of the best Bonds ever.
Yep.
And Quantum and Spectre, I mean, Spectre's pretty solid, except for the brothers thing, and then Quantum is fine. It's like a very meh movie to me.
I think it's at least good.
But considering that Craig's film series kind of bounces around between great and okay, I was expecting this to be at least solid.
Yep.
I gotta say, coming out of this movie, I was beyond astounded with how, I'm just gonna say it, spectacular this movie was.
Yeah.
This
No,
movie
it was phenomenal.
incredible.
I'm bouncing back and forth of whether it's my favorite.
Really?
Or not. Like Casino Royale is my favorite, and if I like this more than Casino Royale by de facto, it would be my favorite.
Interesting.
I think it does a lot with the character. That obviously building up off of the series, but it does a lot, talks about a lot, and then it really goes through the characterization of Bond and ends it off in such a satisfying way.
It does. If you're any kind of fan of the Daniel Craig movies, even just one of them, if you watch this ends this series in a really powerful way.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a fitting end for the character and the journey he's been on this whole time.
Yep.
This is exactly where he should and would end up based on what you've seen.
The acting is really, really solid through and through. Every single one. Very good.
Absolutely.
Daniel Craig is phenomenal. Super talented. Lashana Lynch was really, really good.
Lashana Lynch really surprised me. I thought she'd be like a side character. She becomes really prominent throughout the movie, and
which is really,
I
really good.
expected to kind of be like, okay, well, she's just another agent at MI6, you know, but she really comes into her own.
Yeah.
And I love the interplay, without spoiling anything, between Lashana and Bond.
Yeah.
I think because it's public knowledge that at the beginning of the movie, she's 007 that's been released already, and Bond's retired. So the fact that she's 007 and then Bond obviously gets into another Bond shenanigans mission with MI6, the fact that those two have to be intertwined now, I love the way that they balance that, and I love the writing between them of like, there's like a little bit of dick measuring in there, but it's so subtle, so slight, and you just get those teeny little one-up moments, but then like you see them both evolve and have like an arc with each other. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this movie to do that so well.
Well, I think part of the reason that the character interactions work so well is the strong characterization of every character in this movie.
Yes.
Because we've gotten a good amount of time with Bond, his characterization's impeccable.
Yep.
And then you get what M is all about. You get what Q is all about. You get what Moneypenny's all about. And she's, again, a relatively important Moneypenny since she's been introduced. His interplay with Felix is absolutely great.
Oh my God, Felix is amazing in this movie.
Like, there's not a character that Bond interacts with where I'm like, oh, whatever. It's always, this conversation is important because of XYZ. And it might not be important to the main plot, but it's important for him and this character in this moment. And that is how you write a film. That is how you make a series. If your character is talking to someone, make it feel real.
Yep.
And every conversation in this was actually really, really good. Ana de Armas, even for the limited role she gets in the movie,
Very
that's
limited.
one of my criticisms is she's not in the movie enough. A criticism, her not being in the movie enough means she did a fucking great job.
I agree. She did really good, and I love it's such an unexpected character in the
Yeah.
Bond series because that type of personality, and you'll know when you see it, is so uncommon for a spy.
Yeah,
And I
it's
like that
very,
a
very
lot.
fun.
And throughout the Craig series, you have like the Bond basic characters. You got M, you got Bill Tanner, you got Felix, you got Moneypenny. And throughout the Craig series, there's like some will show up, some won't. Like Felix wasn't in one of them. I don't think Q was in the first one.
He wasn't in the first two? I
First
don't
two,
believe.
yeah, okay. So he's not in several of them. And then Moneypenny gets introduced in Skyfall, but this one has every single mainstay Bond character.
Yeah,
You
it
got
builds up with the cascading cast of
Yep.
the series.
This is like the culmination, and they literally got every single prominent Bond character back. Not Vesper, she's dead. But like,
Dead Sperlind over here.
you even got freaking Blofeld back, which I thought now granted, guys, if you're expecting a lot of Blofeld, he's in like 2 or 3 scenes. He's not in much of it.
Nope.
Just to get the expectations
Very
tapered down.
good use of him, though.
I was about to say, even though it's very limited, very effective use. It moved the story along very, very impressively.
Yeah.
And I like how he ended up.
Yeah.
I think that's a
I
good
think
thing.
that's a testament to the script moving along with this conversation about the story. The story is really, really good, really, really satisfying, and ends up bringing all of this to a culmination. It ties back in all of the other movies. It ties back in all the other plots.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't leave you wondering a bunch of things.
This movie existing now gives more purpose to the big story that is in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, because Quantum is like a coda to Casino Royale.
Yep.
It's like the chaser after that movie, kind of follows through on that.
Yep.
This movie, it now justifies Casino and Quantum's kind of Spectre-esque plot going
Yep.
forward into Skyfall and Spectre. It now brings that all to fruition, and now if you were to go back and watch, let's say, all 5 in a row, knowing where they end up now, you're like, oh my god, this totally works better. Now
Yep.
I'm excited to watch the next one in context of what I'm watching here.
Yep.
It's so powerful. It reminds me of an excellent season finale, or a series finale even,
Yeah,
to a TV show.
100%.
Like, this is exactly what you'd want out of the characters, and it goes back and references those earlier, I guess, episodes of Bond, quote, quote.
And we haven't even talked about Rami Malek,
Yeah.
and he was great. Rami Malek's super duper talented.
There are 2 aspects. There's Rami Malek, who is a spectacular actor. I mean,
Yep.
I love Mr. Robot. I love Bo Rap.
Yep.
But there's also the writing of Safin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's easily one of the best Craig era villains.
Yeah, he's really good.
He may even be like top 5 or 10 Bond villains. He's up there.
I'd have to think about it. I'd have to think a lot about that.
I know. I wouldn't call him like as good as like Le Chief, which means the Chief,
The
or like
Chief.
Jaws. I think Jaws is spectacular, but like,
Yeah.
no, Safin, compared to like some of the older Bond villains where they're just like an evil guy in a business suit, this
Yeah.
guy, you really understand where he's coming from. And I really appreciate that for most of the movie.
I like when you can at least see the villain's motivations,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to sympathize with them at all.
Mm-hmm.
But when a villain lays out his motivations, and you go, "No, I can see why they think that."
Yep.
It's very, very good.
There's an aspect of his plan that I don't, but aside from that,
Yeah,
part,
there is a leap in logic a little bit.
Yep.
It's a remotely understandable one considering how jaded and
sure, but the
messed
leap,
up he is psychologically.
but the
but-
leap to do the like the
Yeah.
big third act thing, it's like I don't see why you got to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So like aside from that aspect, I have no criticism with the Bond villain.
No, not
He's
at all.
just spectacular, and then Rami Malek, of course, brings it.
Yep.
So
And Madeline
Madeline
is
Swan
very, very good.
is oh my god, I just thought she was just some supporting Bond girl in Spectre. This one, you really care about her. Like,
Yes,
this
oh my
is-
God.
This is like it's the movie is so crucial with Madeline Swan and the things they do with her. I mean, I don't know, like I'm
It's like
really
Vesper Lind on crack.
it's so it harkens back to Vesper Lind in important ways because a lot of things have to do with the moral of Casino Royale
Yep.
is that Bond can no longer trust people in general, but mostly Bond women that he's with.
Yep.
And you see that throughout the series. He's very horny and will fuck them, but he's to not trust them at all.
Yeah.
And this movie gets into that and wraps that up. And I don't know, like to me, like I've said it before, but it elevates the other ones.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that gets me really going is the theming of this Bond in general,
Mm-hmm.
of his form of, I almost said masochism instead of like being a macho.
Machismo. is what
Yeah.
you're looking for.
I almost said masochism. That's not the right word.
Masculinity,
Yeah, that masculine sense. it's unlike every one of the other Bonds where it's just like, oh, big strong man can never do any wrong. Nothing bad ever happens to this guy, and when it does, he fucks it and wins. It's like, that's garbage.
Yep.
I'm sorry, like Pierce Brosnan was the exemplifying example of that. And even Connery, and to an extent more was less. I think it's because he was old. I didn't get that as much. I wasn't like, oh yeah, what a fucking cool, sexy dude.
But no, you have a point. The movies wanted him to be that.
Yes,
and they didn't go into the fact that he was old at all.
In this movie, he is a masculine dude, but like, you can see it in Casino Royale where they test that by whipping the shit out of his balls.
Yep.
Or with the Vesper Lynd thing, he gets heartbroken. Or in this movie where more things like those things happen
that you can't elaborate on,
and he gets torn down more. He gets picked apart. They talk about it with the Judi Dench thing about him being this kind of mess of a human being.
Yep. And even Judi Dench in the Pierce Brosnan era,
they touched on that and then immediately abandoned it.
Yeah, in GoldenEye, she's like, you're a relic of the Cold War. You're this sexist dinosaur.
And they never do anything with that.
And they don't get into it. GoldenEye was the only one where they kind of touched on it. And this series, as a response to how goofy the Pierce Brosnan era got, is so serious and self-referential and like almost like attacking the Bond character in a way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
It's attacking it while building it at the same time.
It has its cake and eats it too, because it attacks the Bond character, but you also get that sweet, sweet Bond glory. And I know we should probably wrap up soon, but I haven't mentioned this at all. The Bond character in this movie, I believe that this, out of the entire Craig series, and as one of the Bonds of all time, does the most James Bond things maybe ever. It does. You have at least like 4 or 5 or 6 gadgets. I lost count at one point. So many cool gadgets. If you're counting like the car gun.
The car gun.
It's in the trailer. The
trailer.
Car gun.
Dude,
oh my god.
The fucking car gun.
I love
that
car
scene.
Gun.
The emotional weight in that scene before the awesome action moment too.
Yep.
That's how you write a movie. The action needs to mean something.
It does.
That's why I hate over gratuitous. Oh, this movie's action's real cool, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just there for show.
Yeah.
Like John Wick means something because of what happens with his wife. That emotional payoff of every single thing he's doing for the rest of the film goes off of that.
And each film in the John Wick series builds off the consequences of the last John Wick film series.
The action in those movies, most of it is, hey, these people are trying to fucking murder me, and I really need to do something about this because of X, Y, and Z. And it builds and cascades. In this movie, that awesome, stupid action scene with the car gun, the lead up, the whole like 2 minutes of lead up to that is a banging car chase. Dude, the car chases in this movie slap. And then a phenomenal emotional scene where you can see in his eyes and in her eyes that it's just desperation.
Yep.
From both of them.
Absolute desperation. And you see, because before the action starts versus after the action starts, and I'm not going to explain why, but there's a character shift in how Bond thinks regarding Madeline. And oh my God, like the way that plays out in the fact that he's also trying to protect her during this, and you see that desperation, like you're saying, in both of them, it's so effective.
Yeah.
And like I was saying about how this does the most Bond things, oh my God, you got the gadgets in there, you got him using really clever detective work. Like, even like being situationally aware and clever. Like, in that opening scene, when that car is in that alleyway and gonna run him over, the first thing he does is he realizes that there's like a little pillar to his left, and he barrel rolls and dives into it so the car can flip itself over. That like very few humans could think of that quickly.
Towards the beginning of towards the not the beginning, but right after the whole, once the plot starts getting in motion, when they're trying to recruit Bond, he notices the cigar butt on the mantle.
Yeah.
And he's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you know exactly who that is.
There's a lot of detective work. Not a ton of like heavy spy stuff, but it's more of an action spy.
It gets more into the spy stuff in the second half.
Yeah.
The first half is kind of free fall, and then they all conglomerates, and I really appreciate that.
Yep.
And then the Bond character itself, the shit he says that like is intended for humor is just
really funny.
You do not expect how funny this movie is.
No,
you just don't expect it.
People
so good.
You know what? People make fun of the Daniel Craig Bond for being too gritty, but he has some fucking moments where he's just the funniest dude.
He might be the funniest ever in this. And you
Yeah.
wouldn't expect that because it's like such a long, generally serious, gritty movie.
Yeah, but I think the fact that the whole retirement thing
Mm-hmm.
is it's taken him out of all like that damning murder.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can finally just chill. And
Yeah.
he's always been like a cocky, snarky ass kind
Mhm.
of. And that like snarkiness is funny.
Yeah,
For me.
it's great, and because you can tell, like here, as opposed to the other movies, like he's not working for MI6 now. He's
no,
retired.
he's working for himself.
He starts retired at the beginning of the
Well, he's
movie.
not working for himself, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah. He doesn't give much of a shit anymore about MI6 and what they think.
Yep.
I mean, not to spoil it, there is a scene that is a meeting between M and James Bond for like the first time in a long time, and you just think back to the other movies and you're like, wow, Bond was like he was forced to be like M's bitch,
Yeah.
whether it's Judi Dench or Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
But now Bond kind of is just like, yeah, well, I'm not really a part of this shit anymore. Guys need to solve this certain problem,
Yep.
or I will. Like, yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And you can see shit like that is called an arc, and it's such a cool cross movie arc, and I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's something the other Bond movies didn't do.
Yeah. Well, I think this series has the benefit of being a series instead of a bunch of standalone movies that barely connect.
Yeah, exactly.
But can I just say that the soundtrack in this movie was fucking insane?
Yes. Dude, Zimmer scored the hell out of this movie.
Yep.
He really knew what to do to take the Bond theme and create his own original theme by splicing motifs of the Bond theme into it. And
That's how.
ooh, it really only happened at very key moments where
Yep.
it was very appropriate. And like, dude, Zimmer, man, like
Top 3 for sure.
top 3.
Top 3 composers:
Mm-hmm.
Zimmer, Williams, Silvestri.
Yeah,
Probably.
I would say those are the big 3 as well. And I really feel like the music was used exactly as much as it needed to be in every single scene it needed to be in. So like
Yeah.
if it's like a soft scene, you got those like nice little subtle horns. But then
Or the piano.
the action scene, there's a certain like a bum 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 like
Dude,
that.
I
Dude.
love when they do that. though.
When Zimmer weaved it in or wove it in with the Bond motif of the theme, but with his own like brash style.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Like when Craig is just walking out like gunning people all left and right. Like, dude,
You know what? That's not a spoiler. He does that in every movie.
yeah, that's every single film. Also, if he didn't kill anybody, it'd be a weird Bond film.
It'd
That's
be a
like
weird
his
Craig
thing.
film.
That's his thing.
He's a serial killer. He loves this shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so effective, and you just get that like righteous fuck yeah Bond energy.
Yeah.
And I did not expect a movie that so seriously critiqued and concluded the Bond saga to have the fuck yeah Bond energy. I thought it would have either or, and it has both.
Yep.
And you know what? It shamelessly has both, and it effectively has both.
Yep.
And for that reason, I'm inclined to say that it's even better than Skyfall. And I love Skyfall. It's
Yeah.
coming from a guy who loves Skyfall.
I don't
This-
know if it's better than Casino because Casino does a lot of things that I very much enjoy.
Well, to kind of, because we got to conclude soon, but to wrap things
Yeah.
up, I do want to say on the drive home, I was like, oh, yeah, let me go ahead and just think about where I think about this in the context of the Bond series.
Yep.
I've ranked it before we started this show.
Cool.
My number 1 is Casino Royale. My number 2 is The Living Daylights. My number 3 is No Time to Die. This is my second favorite Craig and my third favorite Bond film.
I think it might be my second favorite Bond film. I'm tentatively like
Okay.
Casino Royale, No Time to Die.
There is a bit of recency bias. We
Yeah.
should probably wait like a week.
Yep.
See how we feel about it. We'll do it in the
I'll
commentary.
probably do
We'll,
a rewatch on the commentary.
Yep.
But I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that Daniel Craig is the best James Bond.
Okay, now that is what I wanted to talk about. 'Cause
Yeah.
you said that in the
I
car
said that
ride,
in the car,
and I said,
and
let's
you looked
save
at me and
this.
went, "Let's save that."
Let's save that conversation.
I love Sean Connery, and I think Connery does a fantastic job with the character. He does a good job with the cockiness, the arrogance, the sexy, the suave. But I think he lacks, and this is more due to the script than Connery, but I think he lacks that fully deep, realistic character.
Well, that's what I was about to kind of talk about a little bit, is because the same principle is applied to Craig in the other way, where like because of the script and the fact that it's one 5-movie saga as opposed to the other Bonds, you get to develop his character over a period of time and have one big arc,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to the old Bonds that really didn't at all.
Yes.
Because like, what the hell does freaking Sean Connery Bond learned in one movie versus the other movie that he can apply that knowledge? There's none of that.
Yeah.
There's none of that at all.
Yep.
So
But when I see Daniel Craig in these movies, every single thing he does is just, it's the Bond thing. The only thing he doesn't do is smoke.
He doesn't smoke, yeah. Which I don't really care if he
I
smokes
don't
or not.
care. But he does the spy shit. He got the suit. He has the vodka martini shaken, not stirred. Bond, James, like the way he delivers his lines. I think it's in his eyes. He's very, very good at making his eyes say what needs to be said in a convincing way. Like, you can see his eyes when he's hurt and he's fucked up. They are watered. They're like semi-pink bloodshot. They're watering. They're like he gets hit with grenades multiple times in this movie.
Yep.
Like, not hit like immediately, but
no,
like,
there's two
stunned
separate.
by
I know what
grenades.
you're talking about. There's two separate
And
sequences.
like, you can see in his eyes, he's disoriented.
Well, there's two different sequences that you're talking about where the audio goes into the tinnitus
that's
mode.
the sound of metal mode.
Sound of metal mode, where it's all muffled. You just hear the ringing in the ears like tinnitus is.
But you can see in his eyes that it's disorienting. He's like,
and we as an audience recover real time with Bond recovering his senses back, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he's phenomenal.
He's great.
I can't even say enough good about Daniel Craig as James Bond.
I'm inclined to agree that the character of Bond in the Craig saga is easily the best.
Yeah.
Because it develops over a period of time. But the thing is, it's not just the fact that it develops, it's the fact that if this conclusion were not so strong, if No Time to Die were a bad movie, then I would not feel that way. And I would still say that Connery is probably my favorite. But you know what? I'm thinking about it now, and I just keep thinking about...
I even think that if this movie wasn't good, but the characterization of the character and how Craig acts, because Craig's phenomenal as an actor himself, I think he would still be a hard contender for me.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to say after the fourth one, and I'm like, no, I need to wait. Because it's not done.
It's not done. Yeah, you're right. Because after you watch Spectre, knowing No Time to Die is going to come out soon, which wasn't soon, but
it should have been soon.
It was going to come out at all in like 2020. You knew that, like, okay, well, we're 4/5 through the story that they want to tell.
Yep.
And they've said the fifth one is like the finale. And it is. It very much is. Now that I've watched them all, yeah, you know what? I think I might be at that point where I'm ready to say Craig is my favorite Bond too.
Yep.
I never thought I'd say this. Before today, I did not think I would say this. I've always been Connery is the best, easily top dog, can't beat him.
Connery has such a verve and charisma to him that I think Craig doesn't have that same kind of positive charisma that Connery has. But what he lacks in that positive charisma, in the sense of his own world and a more realistic character, he has that stone cold get the job done.
Yep.
Like, hard nose, go for it.
I will say, like, because they're going to reboot Bond eventually.
Yeah.
Probably give it like a few years before they make another one. So
Stoner comedy Bond.
Well, whatever Bond is next, I mean, I don't want to go back to the standalone, no character arc over films ways of the past. I want another story like this.
You know what? They tried, I think, with Dalton not to do standalone.
Well, I mean, kind
because
of.
those two movies are pretty related to each other. They feel like an arc was forming.
And I will say Pierce Brosnan is very similar because they have characters recur. They have, what the hell, Hagrid, he recurred.
Yep.
He was great. He's like, Bond, last time we met, blah, blah, blah. Like, stuff like that to carry through relationships.
I feel like those were the inklings of what we got now. And I love Dalton. I don't like Brosnan because he's dumb action Bond and he doesn't really do anything.
Fair. I'm also not a Brosnan guy.
His lips and isn't great.
Yeah.
But at least he's not old. At least he's not bad.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree Roger Moore sucked.
Roger Moore did suck.
Not a Roger Moore guy.
Yeah, no.
But I can't think of like, oh, what James Bond would I want to see the most? And it has to be Craig.
Honestly, yeah, and I already talked about it earlier, but like this is the most James Bond I've seen in a movie for a long time.
Yep.
This is the most James Bond. And a lot of people are complaining about the runtime. I thought it was a perfectly paced movie.
I said, can I get a time check? Because I was like, oh, we must be like halfway through or something. 2 hours in.
Yeah.
It was almost done.
2 hours passed, and we were like in the middle of Act 2, and I was like, they're not breaking sweat. Like, this is great.
Nope. Pacing is great.
They're not
the script
missing,
is good.
They're not missing a damn beat with this movie.
Yep.
And I totally see why it ran so long. Because when you watch the movie, I wouldn't cut real maybe some little details, but I wouldn't cut any stories out. I wouldn't cut any characters out. I wouldn't truncate any scenes.
Nope.
It played out to fruition, and I feel like if you were to cut this down to like 2 hours or an hour 45,
You'd be missing a lot. It
you'd be
wouldn't
missing
good.
so much context. I mean, like you really can't skip
I
out.
hate when people say, "Oh, this good movie is just too long." Bro, you want less good content? Shut up.
That's true.
I
mean,
can't sit there and watch something for 3 hours. All right, you can binge a show, but you can't sit there and watch one thing for 3 hours.
That's what I don't get. I mean, like shows on Netflix, the only difference is that they stop at 20 or 40 minutes, and you can go ahead and take a shit and come back, or go live your life for a day and watch it again.
I don't understand the whole I prefer TV over movie format, because most people binge watch TV.
Yeah,
For
dude.
longer than you'd watch a movie. I know someone who's like, "Oh, I don't really like movie," but I've watched them watch 7 straight hours of a show.
Yeah, and there's a reason that Netflix is still doing the release a whole season in a day format,
Wow,
because
I wonder why.
people on
binge.
their dude, people on their service like to binge. That's why they're there, and that's why they still do that.
Yep.
And dude, this movie felt like an elongated miniseries, except it was theatrical on an IMAX screen. Our seats were too close. I
It
prefer
was
if we got
loud. Oh my god.
loud as hell.
Yep.
But you know what? I felt immersed, and
Yeah.
I had a fantastic time.
Yeah, no, this movie made me feel genuine emotion.
Yeah.
And that for me is important.
Mhm.
Because normally when I watch certain things, I can be like, "Oh, really really good for this reason, this reason, this reason. These emotions are here
Mhm.
because of these reasons." And in this movie it's like, "No cry. Don't want to cry, but I got close.
Towards
No
the
time
end,
to cry."
no time to cry. Yeah, no. Towards the end, it really hits you.
Yep.
It starts to hit you. So with that, out of 10, Ian.
A 9 out of 10. I can't give it
yeah.
the 10
Mhm.
because I don't even know if I gave Casino Royale a 10.
No, I gave Casino a 9.
I might have given it a 10 because I love Casino Royale.
Yep.
But right now, upon first watch, I am going to have to rewatch it. I am going to give it a 9. I noticed like some weird editing things, and I think that was to cut the movie down.
Mhm.
But you're going to have to pay attention to that when you see tomorrow.
I will. Yeah, we'll commentate on it. Don't worry. And I'm seeing it tomorrow. I am. But yeah, no, I'm also gonna agree with a 9.
It's
This movie is so good. It's not
Yeah.
perfect. I have my criticisms, and I really can't talk much about them without
Yeah.
going into spoiler
it's
territory.
the leap in logic.
Yep.
that
Some leaps
takes
in
me a little
logic,
bit.
some character arcs that were a little too quick. We'll get into it in the commentary.
Yep.
But aside from that, oh my god, this
Yes,
is a
so-
freaking spectacular
See
movie.
movie.
Please go see it.
Yeah.
Please give this movie the box office it deserves. Go
It-
go fund James
It
Bond. No
does
Time to Die.
deserve. And honestly, how much did they sell? How much did Bond sell for? The rights to this movie sell for? Can we talk, dude, this movie's not gonna make money.
Oh my
no matter
god.
how much money it makes.
They have had, I think they're on their 3rd marketing campaign.
Wait, okay. So
That's nuts.
how much money does this movie need to?
Oh,
How much money does this movie need to make to break even?
I'm gonna assume probably like $700 million is when they become positive. Because when Netflix offered to buy them, like almost a year ago, they offered like $600. Eon offered 600 for them to buy it, and
Okay.
Netflix didn't even say anything
No
back.
Time to Die would have to make $602 million just to make its money back.
That makes sense, and it would have been a lot lower.
Oh,
of a
this
number.
says 900 million.
I disagree with that. There's no way it's 900 million. But 602, that makes a lot of sense because that number would have been a lot lower if it had released in August or April of 2020 like it was supposed to, which it was the original red carpet paper before COVID shut everything down.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm seeing 900 million from multiple sources.
No way. I don't think it needs to make $1 billion to break even. Although, I
That's-
guess that kind of makes sense.
Because of how it sold, and then
Because they had
delay. Ooh.
several delays, and every delay had its own massive marketing campaign. So I guess it's never going to make money. But at this point, as it's still a hit, it's still going to make a shitload of money, even during COVID. It's set to break Venom's record, and Venom just broke the record.
Yep.
So, like, hell yeah. You know, I'm a big fan of this movie making money, but yeah.
I'm also a big fan of this movie making money because I like movie, and movies should make money if I like it.
Yeah. And
That's
plus-
my pea brain thought process.
Mhm.
Yes, I like this thing. This thing should make money.
And on top of that, too, you can't even say, like, oh, I hope it breaks even so we get a sequel. This is the end. They're going to reboot it after this. This is the end.
Yeah, in a couple
So-
years, probably like what, 5 or something.
I would assume 5 years, like a good 5 years. But we'll get there when we get there. I'm really happy with the Bond we have.
Me too.
So go see No Time to Die. And
Yeah.
see you guys next
A
time.
glowing review from Hot Quality.
Glowing review. So glowing. Mud probably feels the same way, but he's not here.